Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Welcome to New Life Live. I am so glad that you're with us today. And you can also stream us live on Facebook today. And so we're right there. Like it, share it. We love it. Love to connect with you. A lot of different ways to connect with you. If you are struggling with something today, whether it could be a relationship issue, it could be a personal issue. I oftentimes say if it's an addictive issue, whatever the issue is that we can help you with, give us a call. We'd love to talk to you. We're going to be in studio for a couple of programs today. That's 1-800-229-3000. And when I say us, myself, Chris Williams, licensed marriage and family therapist. Right now, I have Dr. Jill Hubbard.
Yes, you do.
Hello. How you doing, Dr. Jill?
Well, it's been a little crazy morning, Chris. Yeah.
Well, tell me about it. What's going on? What's on your mind?
Confession session here.
Okay, go for it. This is a safe place.
Oh, okay, yes. So I am one of those people who procrastinated, and I was up late doing my taxes. So, and that is always my nemesis. So in doing that, then I'm thinking, oh no, what am I going to share this morning? Because I didn't have time to look at the thing I was going to share. And so I thought, okay, God, you got to give me something here. So I'm shooting from the hip, guys. But this is what God told me I should share. And when I say told me, this is what came to mind, Chris.
Yes.
So do you understand the idea of bookending? It's popular in kind of 12-step. And bookending is when we get support, accountability, someone we can check in with before and after something that's stressful or like
potentially triggering.
An event, or even I've done it with people with a task that you have to do. So I had an experience this week where God did a bookend for me. And the bookend was probably 4 to 5 years apart. But it was amazing to me. And people all the time say, oh, I wish God would do something for me. And I think sometimes we just have to really look and pay attention because he's always working and doing things behind the scenes. So about 5 years ago, on this actual show, radio show, on the very day I needed a confirmation, I got a confirmation from a guest that we had on about a decision our family was making. And we were agonizing for months over this decision. And the very day we had to make the decision, God provided a guest that gave me the answer.
Wow.
And it was like amazing. Okay, well, since that time, you make a decision, and let's say in your life, it's about a relationship, it's about a job choice, a place you're going to move, something you're going to take on. And so I was really gung-ho and thanks God, and this is great. And then, you know what, over time, it didn't really go so well. In fact, there were times when it went very, very badly. And I'm like, maybe I just wanted that to be God's answer.
Yeah.
Maybe that was coming from me. And you know how we worry about, like, am I in God's will? Am I out of God's will? And I know that as long as we turn our eyes towards God, we're in his will, right? It's like, gosh, God, but I really didn't expect it to go this way. And then this week, and so I was doubting. This week, I heard somebody speak, and they gave me the very confirmation, the bookend that said, no, I have you, I have your family right where they're supposed to be. And it was only God. It blew me away. And I love that we can get bookending from God.
Well, it's such a reminder that we tend to only read the current page or chapter that we're in.
Yeah.
And as Jesus is the author and perfecter, he's the editor and he's the publisher of our story. And so, as well as the author, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he really does. And, I hate that, we have those doubts that come in, right?
But they happen.
But I love that he's so faithful, and it blows me away.
And we need each other along the way. So give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. Love to connect with you. We'll be right back.
Restore gave me strength. It gave me more belief in my faith. I met up with a group of women that are going through things that they had no control over.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we can still be restored. We are not stuck because someone else made a decision. That God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our lives. Our wellness does not hinge on another person's decision.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Washington, D.C. November 1st through the 3rd. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
I've had a great experience at Restore.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We're so glad that you are joining us, and we would love to talk to you. Again, if you're struggling with something today, give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. Again, that's 1-800-229-3000. And Joe, we were just talking about this, and I think it's really important that it's so hard to see in moments, especially since we're so control and outcome driven.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We're just kind of like, well, wait, this isn't working out.
And
I thought God told me.
Fear-based. You talked about fear recently with Alice, and you and I talked about stress recently. That some people, I guess, have heard those talks. But we get caught up, and our bodies react because sometimes things do go badly, and it's like it feels like it's bigger than us and more than we can handle, and the suffering and the struggling is great.
And I'm always amazed at how big of a difference perspective makes.
Oh, totally. The paradigm shifts are invaluable.
Yes. Because I'm always like, why did this happen in my life? Or why did I go through that experience? Or
why the tragedies? Like I have people with multiple tragedies, and I don't always know the answer to that. None of us know.
And I know that we like to have certain sayings. This may even be a little bit controversial for some people, but the saying that everything happens for a reason. And I'm like,
but that can sound so trite. Yeah. Like, why would God want this to happen?
Well, and I think that we can miss the fact that we live on a fallen planet where chaotic and tragic things just happen. And yet, I also know that there's this other side of that coin, or this paradox, that in God's economy, he doesn't waste anything. That everything does, he is reconciling all things to himself.
Yes.
But our perspective oftentimes can't see it. And I oftentimes say it like this: it's almost impossible to see in the windshield. But when we take time to reflect, when we take time to get perspective, to look in the rear view, and the journey that we take, and seeing how all of these things in our life started coming together, started reconciling, started, leading, that we're like, oh, yeah, there is a goodness outside of me that is guiding my life in a particular way, not only for my benefit, but for the benefit of those around me. And that's what I consider God's will.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think when it's harder to see, Chris, is in the midst of tragedy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And there are so many things. Someone very close to me had their father murdered this last week.
Oh, my goodness.
So this is separate from what I was sharing. Yeah. And so how do you make sense of that, right? Senselessly, a stranger that just came up.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the day, right? And so that our sense of control just
is shattered.
Is shattered, right? And in that grief, though, those opportunities, when we come to the end of ourselves, that's where God can meet us if we allow him. We can turn bitter and say, how can God, have this happen? Or we can say, God, I have no place else to go but to you.
Well, and none of us get out of this tension. And the tension is that we live in a beautiful, wonderful, abundant, incredible world. And we live in an incredibly dangerous and tragic and heartbreaking world all at the same time. And I think what's missed oftentimes is the remarkableness of the story of Jesus. Because God incarnate did not seek to avoid any of that. You know, what's to me, what is most encouraging and hopeful and strengthening about the Christmas story is God looked at the reality of the suffering on planet Earth, pointed his nose, leaned out his chin, and went straight into it. So we have truly Emmanuel, God with us.
Yes.
With us in the things that we may not ever get answers to.
Right.
In the heartbreaks that may remain somewhat wounded until the other side. Yeah. And I think that's and
like we have our battle scars
for
throughout life,
sure.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that we live with.
Absolutely.
And that remind us.
And you know what I'm reminded of, and you had mentioned this in the opener, and that is there is such a incredible reciprocal relationship that we have with our clients and our callers. And so I can't tell you how many times me as quote unquote expert have really just been the student.
Right.
So there's so many times where my clients or a caller will listen to people, and I'll tell you, the people who work deeply through grief are some of the strongest people that I know. The people who are able to figure out how to do it and do it well, live with the heartbreaks, and use it and find the resources to help strengthen them. And it's just such a reminder of why we do what we do here.
Yes.
Is because we do need hope and healing in life's hardest places. Because though I feel entitled, though I want to be entitled to avoid life's most heartbreaking moments or experiences, none of us get out of that.
No, and the lessons you get from them, like you said, are so amazing, even though we wouldn't wish some of them on our worst enemy.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And yet you come out the other side. And I just, it's like you're heading down a slide and you're like, no.
Yeah.
Backpedaling, right? And then once it's like you have to face grief in the face, right? Or tragedy in the face, and you allow God to meet you there. Oh, man, it makes such a huge difference.
Well, I also think that is the strength of the recovery movement and life recovery and why we've embraced it, is because all of us, if we're honest to the life experience that we have, will face plenty of moments of powerlessness that we're powerless against, whether it be a process inside of ourselves like an addiction, or whether it be a circumstance outside of ourselves like somebody else's addiction or abuse or whatever the case may be. That we're powerless against this, and our lives have become unmanageable.
Well, and isn't it interesting, like with addictions, you're trying to avoid that feeling of powerlessness in life.
Absolutely.
And so you go to the addiction, which actually creates you being completely controlled and powerless.
Well, and as I look at how God describes idols in the Old Testament, it is this: I will provide you control, security, and ultimately power without you having to be vulnerable. And it's like, no, life doesn't work. God did not set it up like that. That's not how it works. And that's how every addiction works. I'm going to promise you, sexual addiction, I'm going to promise you connection and love without vulnerability.
Without intimacy.
Without risk. Without, and that's why we look at childhood experiences. Because oftentimes in our most vulnerable moments, we weren't loved and we weren't cared for. And so we make a vow.
Or we were not loved in the way we needed.
Yes.
Right?
And so we kind of make a vow to ourselves. I will not be vulnerable. And yet there's this other side that says, I still need love and connection.
Yeah.
So how do I do that? And that sort of like becomes the backstory of the Petri dish for something like a porn addiction. I can have full control. And the promise of love without risk, vulnerability, or connection. And then we wonder why it does so much damage. And then,
and I'm going to take from you because I'm angry at those people who didn't give it to me.
That's exactly right.
Right? So I'm not going to let you into my heart because I've done that, and that's way too painful.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that creates sort of this view of scarcity, especially relational scarcity, where we become takers rather than givers, where we become entitled rather than generous. And It's the reason why we need the love of Christ in our lives so desperately.
He's the ultimate therapist, I always say. Like, I'm just sitting in the chair, but God really is the one doing the work,
yes,
right?
Absolutely. And so in this process, you know, when our marriages are struggling in their intimacy, when we can't connect or there's struggles behind it and we're in a battle of control. And as most marriages find themselves in this really, really dangerous trap that I call the whirlpool.
Yeah.
I mean, you're circling the drain, is they're both protesting, what about me?
I was just going to say that. That's so true. It's like you get reduced to two little kids that are saying, like, but you were supposed to take care of me,
yes.
right? I was supposed to finally get my needs met.
Yes.
And you're not doing it.
No, my wife and I, our most painful arguments are around, you don't understand me. No, you don't understand me. No, you don't understand me. But the stakes get really, really high when they become closer to our heart issues. And so intimacy in marriage actually helps us unveil the heart issues, the places in our lives where we need the deepest connection, the deepest empathy, the deepest understanding, and ultimately the deepest care. And so the very things that we are avoiding in the name of strength were actually making us weak. When we are able to enter into connection and vulnerability and understanding and empathy, ultimately the attributes of love, patience, and kindness, it strengthens us. It builds resiliency. And bringing this full circle, that resiliency actually helps us in life's most difficult moments. And so we do have intimacy in marriage coming up. And it will, let me look at it real quick. Intimacy in marriage on October 25th in Dallas.
Yes.
And now that we're in October.
Get in now, right? For all of you procrastinators like me.
Yes.
Do it now.
You know, and I oftentimes have clients that, you know, I work with a lot of guys, right? So the guys will be like, I'm depressed, I'm depleted, you know, all of these things. And, you know, like, hey, let's look at your health. Let's look at all these things. One of the first things I go to is, let's look at the condition of your marriage. And more times than not, the conflicts and difficulty in the marriage is diminishing every other part of their life. And so if you are struggling as an individual and you are married, there is not an area of your life that isn't positively impacted by the strengthening of their marriage. Let me also say it the other way. There's not an area of your life negatively impacted by the struggle of your marriage. So, like you said, Jill, sign up today. Intimacy in Marriage, October 25th in Dallas. And if you sign up by this Friday, it's the early bird special. So don't waste time. Get on that right now. Again, we are going to be in studio for a couple of programs today. We would love to talk to you. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. Again, that's 1-800-229-3000. I also want to mention this. One of the things that is so incredible about our program is
if you do say so
I
yourself.
do say so myself. But
you mean since you've taken the help?
Oh my gosh, Jill. Can you see me blushing?
Yes, I can.
Yes. If you're watching on YouTube.
Okay, that's not what you meant.
If you're
I
watching
got
on
it.
YouTube, you can see me blushing.
We got to have fun here.
But the incredibleness of the program is what we don't see happening out there.
Yes.
And once in a while, we'll get a report back to us, and it will let us know. This is what you and I actually, and I know JJ is joining us. So
yes, I hear his laughter in the background.
Have a part,
Hi, JJ.
Well, we have a part of, but it's actually, in the grand scheme of things, a small part of. Because we can't do what we do if we don't have people taking active roles in financial contributions.
Yes.
And so all of us pulling together end up hearing back stories like this. One of our listeners said, I came to New Life through my daughter. She was struggling in her relationships with her controlling mother-in-law. While listening to New Life Live, a caller shared the same problem. The advice from the counselors explained the need for boundaries. My daughter, with the help of her husband, put boundaries in place and now has a manageable relationship with her mother-in-law. Seeing their success, I began to listen to New Life Live. Little did I know then that God was providing wisdom I would need in the future. Weren't you and I just talking about that? When my husband became depressed and suicidal, I had guidance provided by Christian counselors on New Life. This led to a psychologist recommended by New Life, as well as medication, EMDR, and counseling for both of us. New Life continues to help me through life's challenges, and as a leader of a small group Bible study, I'm often approached for direction by the members. Because of the important lessons I hear on New Life, I'm able to give hope and spiritual guidance. Thank you for all the tools and resources you provide through your ministry. And listeners, friends, we can't do that without you. So your financial contributions help us enough. If you want to be one of our financial contributors, our partners, our team members in this work, in this remarkable work, go to newlife.com. Hit on that donate button. Donate today. We would
join Club New Life.
Yep. And if you need help, give us a call. Me, Jill, JJ, we're going to be back to take more of your calls and to offer more guidance and hope in life's hardest places right after this.
I am the firstborn of a functional alcoholic. I lost my dad to a murder-suicide. And I now, behind me, in my early 60s, have 4 failed marriages. I made choices in men of people I thought I could fix. They all had some type of addiction, sexual, prescription drug addiction, and I have learned so much by finding New Life over the last 10 or so years. I eventually became a Club New Life member, and I cannot say enough good things about all that you all do and the counselors that you have. Everyone is just absolutely wonderful. I have purchased your materials for use in topical Bible studies with women. I have given them as gifts and have told people to tune in, and I just think that this is just such a blessing what you all do, and it's such a help to so many people.
To make your tax-deductible gift, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or text NLM to 28950. That's NLM to 28950.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for over 34 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family, or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step towards genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow. Call 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. So glad that you're with us today. We are in studio, obviously, this hour. We'll be next hour as well.
Yes.
Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. We would love to talk to you. And we're going to talk to Emmanuel in Baltimore, Maryland, listening on WAVA. Emmanuel, how's it going today?
It's going good.
Good. Well, talk to us. What's going on?
Yeah, as I said earlier on, I have the son. He needs reminders for like everything, homework, brush your teeth, like everything.
Yes.
And yes, I want to think of how I could be able to help him, like be able to do stuff on his own without like being prompted for virtually everything.
Yes. So yeah, you have to like be on him all the time to do all of the things, even the simplest of tasks.
Yes.
How old is your son?
He's 12.
Okay. Yeah. Okay,
sounds typical.
Welcome to fathering a 12-year-old son.
Yeah, they don't want to do anything, especially brush their teeth.
For sure. But you're saying that, like what this can do is create a really contentious relationship between you and your son, correct?
It did, yeah, because every time sometimes I'm mad at him, like I lose it and talk to him really to him in a way that he start crying at some time. I would like try like talk down on him like he can't do stuff, and it makes me guilty sometimes that like I'm being too hard on him.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Just one more quick question on this, Emmanuel. What is your son's relationship like to screens, like video games, telephone, anything like that?
Yeah, he likes being on either he's on a device or he's like playing with stuff like a game or a board, writing stuff on a board or playing with anything he lays his hand on. It's like going to be a kind of stuff he could stay on for some time.
Yeah. So
and Emmanuel, do you have any parameters around his screen time?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
On some monitored device, but on the Chromebook for his assignments and stuff doesn't have that. But I make sure he's not with them handy. He's either tucked away in my own room or he's somewhere else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, Emmanuel, it seems like everything that you've been trying has not been working. And it's leaving your son crying and you frustrated and maybe getting mad at him in a way that you don't want to. And so sometimes with our kids, we have to do a reset. And we have to maybe take them out. You've got to switch things up to get his attention. He's got to be away from a screen, and because you can't talk to them when they're on a screen. They absolutely do not hear you. So that's futile. So you take him out, go take him, buy him something to eat or something, and say, okay, I think we need a reset. And just explain that. I'm frustrated. You get mad at me. This isn't working. And so we need to partner together because, God assigned me as your dad, and it's my job to help teach you life skills so that you can succeed someday. And I know that doesn't sound very exciting, but we've got to partner together because the way we're going, it's just, it's doomed for failure. And so I would try to draw him out some. There are things in life that none of us like to do. We don't like to brush our teeth because that's time away from our game, or we don't want to do our homework because we actually have to think and that hurts our brains. And so get him talking about why he avoids, is it all tied to the screens? What's uncomfortable for him? How does he feel about school? The gaming is easier, and it's for some boys it's a form of connection with other kids and things, and so that's like their social time. And what 12-year-old or 15-year-old doesn't want to move towards what's pleasurable? I mean, remember, their brains even start to spike dopamine, and so they're just pleasure-seeking machines. And so, so then I think you come up with a plan to start building some things in. But it's got to be a plan that's together. And I think if his most important thing is screens, then you get him to agree that if certain things aren't done, then he doesn't get the screen time. And that I would tie that to kind of a reward and lack of reward.
earning the privilege.
Yes.
Yeah, what do you think, JJ?
Yeah, so totally agree, but would also say that it's important to recognize that when you have video games, it's not just the connection. That's an important piece, the social connection with other friends, but there's also the piece of video games are set up to give you early success or mastery, and that feels good. That, again, hits that pleasure center of the brain. And so it may be helpful to have a conversation with him around what are some things that he enjoys, that he feels good about, that he feels like he's good at or wants to get better at, and maybe some things that you guys could do together. I hear the music, so we'll have to come back for the rest later.
Yeah, I think that's really, really good, guys. Jill, I love that idea of
actually he loves playing chess on the screen. Like he's good at chess, and he's also good at mathematics because he's like a master in mathematics. He could tackle
So Emmanuel, sorry to do this. I gotta jump in, man, because we're gonna head to a break. So we're gonna keep talking to you right after this.
New Life Ministries saved my completely broken marriage.
No matter how much hurt you've had to face, no marriage is beyond hope. At New Life Ministries Intimacy and Marriage Weekend, licensed counselors will help you rebuild communication skills and renew your commitment to each other.
You're building authentic intimacy, and you're learning how to connect on an emotional and relational level. You're learning how to listen. You're learning how to identify those core patterns that get in the way of good relationship.
The Intimacy and Marriage Weekend is October 25th through the 27th in Dallas, Texas. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50. 1-800-639-5433.
3.5 years later, we're still going strong. I would encourage anybody who's struggling in their marriage to go. They are more effective than anything else we tried.
Club New Life changes lives.
I think I go way back to listening to New Life, learning so much from it, and then becoming a Club New Life member.
Club New Life is a monthly giving family that helps New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people.
You know, I'm so thankful because you know why I keep giving? Because I keep learning, and I'm so thankful for all the lives that you touch every day and the people's lives. So when I get to still hear the radio show, it's just so encouraging to my heart.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
And you know one reason I give? Because I feel like sometimes I'm hiding behind a counselor's couch listening to all this great information and not paying. So my guilt of this great advice is alleviated by being a Club New Life member.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. And together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. Again, we're so glad that you're with us. Give us a call. We'd love to talk to you today. If you're having a struggle, if you're having something that's even just baffling in your life, give us a call. We'd love to talk to you. 1-800-229-3000. We're talking with Emmanuel in Baltimore, Maryland, in this very common situation.
Oh, yeah.
Parenting a 12-year-old boy who is just not following through with the simplest of tasks. And before we went to the break, Emmanuel, you were talking about how he loves chess.
So he's a bright kid. He's good at mathematics.
Good at mathematics.
Right.
So there's a lot he's got going on that can work really well for him, right? Excellent. Well, I love this idea that Jill had of, in fact, I think we need to do this often. As you were saying it, Jill, I'm like thinking about my own life and how many different resets that we need to do. You know, last night in baseball practice, you know, we had a terrible beginning to the practice, and about a half an hour in, I just redid the entire practice. I said, we're resetting. We're going back to warm-ups and doing this so we can just, and that's the God of second chances. That's the God oftentimes resets, and we need to reset with other people, and especially the ones closest to us. You know, and as you were talking, JJ, about finding things that he enjoys, finding things that are pleasurable outside of the screens.
Right, because you don't want it to be all negative, right? It's like you want to overdo it on the things that are positive. So that then, you know, the screen time is less important if he's filling his life with other things. And if he's good at chess, well, can we decouple it from screens? Like, can he get into a chess club?
Oh, that's a great idea.
Right? Chess clubs are wonderful.
Or could Emmanuel play chess with him, right?
Yes.
Could be something they do as a family to build bonds there and spend time together, right? So, and you know, I mean, listen, my son, who's now 23, he was a 12-year-old boy at one point, and his nickname was the absent-minded professor because he was super bright. He did excellent in school, but he was very forgetful of things. And that's part of the developmental process. So that does change with time if you do some of the little things to help improve it, like learn to write things down, have a checklist of the things that you know need to be done all the time. And so you just you write it down, you go over your checklist, because we do forget things. I forget things all the time, so I have to write stuff down. I used to be able to remember a lot more when I was in my 20s and 30s, not so much in my 50s. I have to write a lot of stuff down. But it is important to learn some of those little steps to help us be successful. And that's where, Emmanuel, you can step in as the father to say, look, here are some things that you can do to help you learn how to train yourself to remember to do these things, because I won't obviously always be around to tell you to brush your teeth.
Yes.
Well, and at this age, I mean, I don't know, the teeth brushing battle. I used to have to go feel the toothbrush because, I brushed my teeth, and then it was like bone dry.
Yeah.
So sometimes I would put things on my kids' bathroom mirror.
Yeah.
Right? The reminders of things to do. And at a certain age, especially when they start being interested in girls and things like that, suddenly they start brushing their teeth.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, and Emmanuel,
Putting
this
on deodorant, all those fun
Yeah.
Yep.
I used to carry deodorant in the car because he would get in and I'm like, oh, no. Take the deodorant out of the glove box and put it on.
Oh, my goodness. The smell in my truck after they've been at the theater or the ballpark. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So it's like, guys, let's take care of this. Let's get...
So you do have to be on them. And so I think maybe lower your expectations, because going through this age group, you are going to have to remind them about hygiene. They're just not into it.
Yeah.
And one thing, Jill, that you said that I thought was so important is communicating. Okay, yes, we're butting heads, but I want us to have a better relationship.
Yes.
And I think you do as well, right? So putting that hope forward, that this isn't just corrective, this isn't just you're doing it wrong and you need to do it right. This is hope for, I want us to be able to have a better relationship and communicate better.
Right. And take it away from, oh my gosh, he's not doing what I told him to do, and your own lack of control. He's not going to do some of those things. He's just not. He's going to protest. Right. And so, okay, no, we got the toothbrush is bone dry. Let's come back in and I'll watch you now brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm laughing because this is the show of the Chris Williams embarrassment program, because I'm super
kind of true confessions here today.
True confessions is Emmanuel, I'm with you.
Yeah.
My oldest just turned 13. And there's so many different times that I've quote unquote lost my temper, yelled at him or said mean things, said things I'd love to take back, or just created a very contentious relationship and battle where his feelings are hurt, my feelings are hurt. And I think it's just such a reminder, as you guys are talking, that our kids long for and desire good relationship with us. They really do.
Yeah.
But one of the things I'm convicted of is you're reminding me of this, Emmanuel, today, is what I have confronting in my life is lazy parenting.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that at the break.
Jill, you were saying you can't parent from the couch.
No, this is my formula. You cannot parent from the couch. And so when my kids were young, I would count to 3. So count to 1 is the warning, 2 I'm on my feet, and 3 my hands are on them.
Yeah.
In a gentle way.
Yeah.
Right? Meaning guiding them. My hands were guiding them.
Yes.
And that's...
Let's get clear here.
We do need to be clear on putting our hands on our children.
Happening, but it was like, here, let me guide you to the behavior that I'm requesting of you. And then that idea of kind of parenting with love and limits is like you give them 2 choices, right? And both choices you're totally happy with.
Well, and the bottom line is, like we were talking about chores, and for me and what I'm confronting is that I like to just tell my children to do something and they just do it.
Oh yeah,
rather
of course.
than right,
be the king and just do this.
But I'm really seeing that it's so much more meaningful to them. That if I'm doing it with them. We had alluded to the first 2 attributes of love in 1 Corinthians 13 are patience and kindness.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how difficult patience is when my kid is doing something and I could do it better in a quarter of the time.
Yeah.
But
That's exactly right.
Right? Yeah. I've got to learn the patience of allowing him to do a chore, do it incompletely, doing it less effective or thorough than I would. But also being with him in that process.
Right. Right. But allowing them to do it. And we were talking about how that builds self-esteem in kids to do chores and have to be a part of the caretaking of life, right, in the family.
Yeah. And both marriage and parenting are crucibles that allow our impurities to rise to the surface.
Oh, that's so good,
right?
JJ.
I had no idea how selfish I was or how impatient I was or how angry I could get until I got married and had kids.
Well, and that's such a good reminder, because oftentimes my children are doing nothing more than reflecting back to me the entitlement and the impatience that I have.
Right.
Oh, brother, preach.
Right.
Yeah, so true. Well, okay, so one more point, and that is sometimes, and I found this as a mom, especially a single mom, that once in a while I had to let, especially my boy, win.
Oh, yeah.
Like they need to feel like they have some power too. And if you're always the one that's winning and it's your way, they feel like they have no power. So on some things that I cared less about, I had to let him win.
Oh, that's so good, Jill. My wife actually is much better at that than I am. It's the battle of the wills. So, but let him win. That's really,
every once in a while,
Emmanuel, we're going to send you a copy of Understanding and Loving Your Child in a Screen-Saturated World.
Oh, that's good,
Alice and Steve's book there. I think that'd be really, really helpful. And Emmanuel, your call is helping us and our process today.
Examining our own parenting.
So, Emmanuel, we're wishing you well. We love that you love your boy and you're looking to parent him well and repair that. So do a reset, find things that he enjoys to do, and do it with him as you're continuing that process of correction and guidance and leadership in his life. So thank you again, Manuel. We're going to go right back to the phones. We are going to Angel in Dallas, Texas, listening on KWRD. Angel, what's going on today?
Hi, how you doing? Thank you for taking my call.
No problem. Talk to us. What's going on?
Well, I've been unemployed for over a year and 4 months, and I get up every morning and pray and to my knees and read my Bible, spend about 30 to 45 minutes to an hour in the Word of God, and look for a job, and just waiting for the Lord to tell me what. I mean, I'm trying to wait patiently and wait on Him, but I mean, to be honest, I feel depressed. I feel sometimes lonely. I feel rejected. Like the prayer's not going anywhere, but they're to the ceiling, and Lord, what's happening? And just wanted to get your thoughts or your input of what direction you like me. I mean, I think I'm doing all the right things. I'm just not hearing from God, and I don't know. I mean, I know the economy is tough, but after a while, after being unemployed for a year and 4 months, you start questioning yourself. Am I good enough?
For sure. Yeah, well, Angel, let me jump in here because we're going to head to a break. But this is your calling, and with this incredible struggle, I think it's really important. You're not the only one out here struggling with this. We're going to head to a break here soon, but we're going to workshop this even at the break. But we're going to come back, give you some guidance and some help, and let's see if we can get some movement here in your life. We'll be right back.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 Steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. Again, we're so glad you're with us. We are going to be in studio for the remainder of this program. Another one coming up. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. If we didn't get to your call on this program, please hold on. We'll get to your call in the next program. And so please, hold on. We'll get to you. And right now we're going to go back to Angel. We've been talking with him about this really frustrating experience about trying to find a job. My dad used to always have this term. The hardest job out there is getting one.
So true.
Because
the need is all in you, not in the other person. So it feels so unequal and vulnerable, right?
Yeah. So Angel, what has been your employment history? What have you done in the past?
I've been in banking.
Okay. In the banking industry?
I've been in the banking industry for over 25 years.
Okay.
And, my last job, I was let go. They had some internal realignments with the interest rates going up and production slowing down, so they did away with my position and with other positions as well. And I've been looking, and it's just tough out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of banks don't have hardly any people in them. I hate going to the bank now.
Yeah.
It's like just computer screens and
Absolutely. So JJ, what do you think, man?
It's so hard when we are waiting on God to come through in things like this. And there's so many stories in Scripture where someone is praying and they're faithful in their praying. They're faithful in their devotion to the Lord and their belief in God's goodness. And yet the answer to that prayer does not come, or definitely does not come quickly. I mean, I think about the woman who had the issue of blood for 12 years, who, cried out again and again, went to tons of physicians trying to get help. And not only did it not get better, it got worse. I think about Joseph sitting in the prison. He's already asked the cupbearer, hey, when you go back to Pharaoh, when you're restored, tell him about me because I'm imprisoned wrongly. And yet he doesn't. And so he sits and he waits and he waits. And my gosh, it almost feels like, boy, there's nothing I can say because I've not suffered that way. I've not had those long-term delayed answers to prayer throughout my life. Not a lot of them anyway. Not for long term. I haven't had to be unemployed for over a year the way you have, Angel. And so, one, I'm so sorry for the situation that you find yourself in. But two, I do appreciate the fact that you are continuing to seek the Lord. That's so important that we don't lose sight, because what's happened is the world around us is set up to discourage us and to remove our hope. And so it's so important that we're actively pursuing God, and that we are actively pursuing connection with others who will remind us of God's goodness and will remind us of God's faithfulness, will be our support network and our source of encouragement when it's lacking within us, when we've been pushing against that wall for so long, so hard, and we're just exhausted. I need some people around me who will pick me up. I need those brothers who stood beside Moses when he was tired, right? They, slid the rock under him, let him sit down, and they held the staff for him, right? Like, I need people in my life who will hold the staff for me when I'm tired. And I feel like that's where you're at, understandably so, having looked for a job for over a year. So that would be my recommendation. If you don't already have those people in your life, find some people that you can be that vulnerable with to say, hey, this is the situation. This is where I'm hurting, and I need some help, and I need to be able to lean on you.
So, Angel, I think everything JJ is saying is great. That's JJ's giving you the spiritual input and the input about, being connected. You've got to be in relationship. You can't be isolated with this. On also a practical level, it's like we turn to God, but we also have to do our part as well. So on a little more practical level, and maybe you've done some of these things, are you involved in a networking group? Have you looked at the skills that you acquired in your 25 years of banking and how they might be transferable, because you are in an industry where they are squeezing people out. So this doesn't sound like it's because you were doing a bad job. They're just eliminating people altogether. And so you've got to take those skills and broaden your idea of what's acceptable for work for you. And how can you use either your people skills or your financial knowledge and take it to a different industry. And sometimes you have to really humble yourself. We've known all kinds of people who have had to take much lesser jobs just to get out working, because that old saying of it's easier to find a job when you have a job is really true. And you feel better about yourself when you're doing something. And then that impacts how you present yourself on the job front. But it's time to get really creative. And this is where you can use your support systems to just throw out different job ideas and start, okay, where would that take me? And where would that take me? And how could I get into this industry? What would it take?
Well, and Jill, you were reminding me of a story about Milan Jurkovic.
About Milan, yes.
Right?
Yeah, I was thinking of him.
Here's the author, him and Kay, the authors of How We Love.
Yeah.
Him starting and ends up being in the international ministry, but when he left his previous job as a pastor, he did what?
He sold shoes.
Yes.
He sold shoes because he had a family to support, and he was burnt out and discouraged as a pastor, sold shoes. Then, redirected his life into counseling, ended up on the radio, wrote a best-selling book that has impacted so many people and has a wonderful ministry.
And the irony of that is it came out of him doing his own counseling.
Yes.
And finding, there's so many different ways.
That's so true.
To going back to the bookends that you were talking about at the very beginning of the story, that to affirm what JJ was saying is, Angel, God's not done writing your story.
No.
He's designed you as a good contributor, creator, worker on planet Earth.
But
there's some things we got to do to partner with.
Right. And I love that you're spending time in God's Word and that you're praying, and keep doing that. But I think you need to add some things.
I think that's really good. Angel, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you the book Trust by Henry Cloud. And here's why. Is that I'm an employer. And when I am hiring people, I do not hire to skill first. I hire to skill third. I hire to fit of culture first. And to then the second thing that people can't see is desire. I want to hire someone who's motivated and who has a desire to learn and grow, that has that sense of humility, and yet that also sense of confidence that whatever the problem is, they're going to want to figure it out. And so what's interesting is most people on their resumes are leading with skill and looking for the skill-based. But again, as an employer, I know that we can build skill. There's other things that are almost impossible to build, and that are the things that build trust. And the last thing I'll say about trust is that other than creating my own job, every other job that I've gotten that has had any significance has come through a connection.
Through relationship. I was going to say the same thing.
That's why
I've gotten jobs where I was not the most qualified.
100%. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Yep. And that's because I got the job through the trust of another person. And that's where that networking thing is so critically important. Hey, Angel, we will be praying for you. We know that God is writing and leading your story. I know that you have a lot more fun, exciting, and meaningful work ahead of you. Thank you all for being with us. And until next time, be well.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE. But when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.